Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful team series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick butt, take no prisoners, team racing action like you have never seen before. The ETV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net.
Hello there, and welcome to the ETV Live Team Series. It's going to be a little bit different broadcast crew up in the booth today. It's going to be myself, Kyle Peddle, alongside a new face today. Kyle Young is off for the day. It is Ted Manning. We're here at the hallowed grounds of Talladega, where anything can happen, and anything does happen here. From crazy wrecks to huge victories to first-time winners. Anything can happen here at Talladega. Quickly, Ted, I know this is probably one of your first couple times up in the booth. Tell us how it's going to go today.
Well, I think everybody at home can be expecting some great racing here at Talladega Superspeedway. Every time we come to this track, we always have a great finish when it comes down to it. And I think today is going to be no different. We have a lot of good drivers out there, a lot of experienced drivers, so I think the people at home are going to have a great ride tonight.
It's definitely going to be interesting, but before we start talking about a lot of that stuff that might happen here tonight at Talladega, I'm going to just kind of recap what happened at Richmond International Raceway last week. The Asphalt Assault Series came out, and they came out strong. They got 142 points, so they won last week at Richmond. Coming home second was the the Super Speedway Cup Series. They got 125 points. Third was Crossed Up Motorsports. They came home with 115 points. Fourth was the Halls on Post team. They came home with 112. Fifth was the Full Throttle Full Throttle team. They had 107 points. And rounding out the field was the ETV Live series. Unfortunately, they had an abysmal 61 points. So, as the championship series is going to look right now, Asphalt Assault Series is still going to lead the way. They now have 932 points. They gapped Super Speedway Cup Series by about 17 points last week. They used to be tied, so definitely that's big points right there. They're looking to extend that lead here at Talladega. Third place is going to be your Halls on Post. They got 896, as you can remember, about through the halfway mark of the season. Halls on Post was dominating this series, and unfortunately they had a couple bad runs in a row. Asphalt Assault Series picked up their pants, got up on the wheel, and they are now flying in first place. Fourth is the Full Throttle Cup Series. They're 70 points out, so they are basically almost mathematically eliminated from this championship as we're closing down to the final weeks. Fifth place is going to be Crossed Up Motorsports. They're 80 points, so they're basically also done. The ETV Live Series, they're in sixth place. They're definitely done. They're toasted. They're roasted. I don't even know what to call them, but they're done. They're 272 points behind. And the one team that is pulled out of this series by the director, Jerry Wolf, is the Hollywood Motorsports team. They will not be running the rest of the season, as we did mention last week. They're 314 points behind. Now, with the championship series all caught up and with the results of last week, Ted, now we can actually talk about the racing.
Yeah, the racing tonight is going to be something that you want to take a good close look at, because these guys in this series don't race individually, they race as teams. And so you're going to have to look at the drafting situations that we see early on. Also, it is Talladega, so we are going to see the big one most likely towards the middle of the race. Not sure yet. It could happen at any time, quite frankly. And so you're going to have to take a good look at that. So whether these teams want to start off with a strategy of sitting in the back and waiting for that big wreck to clear, or take an early lead out front and get those points. It could be anybody's race all through this race, because as the laps wind down, one lap you could be winning it all, the next lap you could be upside on your roof.
Well, and that's definitely the challenging point with here at Talladega is you never know what's going to happen. I've seen it where guys will be 30th, and within a couple laps they'll be first. Now, different little structure here at Talladega. Everybody's used to having that start-finish line right in the middle of the tri-oval. Talladega is a little bit different. It's about 200 feet past the tri-oval, which makes for some very, very exciting endings. You know, everybody's used to Daytona where, like I said, it's in the middle of the trial. Well, you think you have it won by the time you get to that point? Well, no, you got to go to another 200 feet, and by that time the guy's already by you, and you're losing the race. So definitely interesting here with the shape of the way that Talladega is. It is our longest track on the Sprint Cup, or actually, I'm sorry, on the ETV Live Team Series schedule. It's a 2.66 mile super speedway. Absolutely no braking needed here. It's all full throttle, and basically, like you said, try to avoid that big one because it's inevitably going to happen.
Yeah, and like you said, that when it comes down to it, I mean, when you race at Daytona and you have that start-finish line right there, smack dab in the middle of the front stretch, now you have to move that forward 200 feet, as you said, and they're going to have to race even harder, and that's where everybody's going to have to watch now. I want nobody going into this race thinking with 1 lap to go on the back stretch that your current leaders are going to be the guys winning this race, because that just does not happen here at Talladega Superspeedway. And so as the time winds down and we get ready to go racing here, let's just all remember that this is Talladega Superspeedway and anything can happen.
Well, you know, with it being buried on an supposable Indian burial ground, and it used to be a military strip, it was surprisingly when Juan Pablo hit that jet dryer at Daytona, I'm pretty sure it should have been here at Talladega. But we've seen some pretty funky things here in real life racing, from a stolen pace car to even Carl Edwards flying up into the fence. So weird stuff has tend to happen here at Talladega. Hopefully we won't see any of that. We know we won't see a stolen pace car. That'd be just interesting here in iRacing. But also just want to iterate to the fans tonight that with the new build update that iRacing did do, you're going to see most of the paint schemes are just going to be plain paint schemes, because unfortunately with the new update there has been changes to the paints, and unfortunately we did not get them in time. So once again, if you're looking for your favorite driver and all of a sudden he's still not running the same paint scheme that you're used to him seeing, that's why.
Yep, so as with time winding down, I must ask you, Kyle, what do you expect coming down to the final laps here? Who is your favorite to win tonight? What team do you think will be dominant here at Talladega Superspeedway?
Oh man, you gotta ask me the tough questions. It's a crapshoot here at Talladega. You never know what's gonna go on. You could be, like I said, you could be first 1 lap, 30th the next lap. I'd have to pick, I guess, the Super Speedway Cup Series, because obviously in their name they got Super Speedway Cup. So they've mostly done most of their series on super speedways, but I don't know. What do you think?
That would be the logical choice. That's the choice that I was going to go with. I mean, they have the Super Speedway series in their name, so you just got to imagine that they're all going to be up there at the end. So, but like me and you had said before, this is Talladega, so anything can happen.
And with that said, we're going to now throw it down trackside for the national anthem from the Cactus Cuties.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in
And welcome back here to Talladega Super Speedway. We're going to send it down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports. And starting on the pole, the number 13 machine for the ETV Live Team Series is going to be Dakota Ehrman, and to his outside in the Halls on Post car is going to be Larry Mulliken. That's going to complete row number 1.
Starting off row number 2, in the number 2 is Tony Bowling, and to his outside in the number 16 is Michael Keaton.
It's going to be the Crossed Up Motorsports row number 3. It's going to be Sean W. Brown in the 25 machine, and to his outside in the 6th position in the number 26 machine is going to be Steve Spees.
Row number 4 is number 27 of Steve Rosner with number 3 Billy Weeks above him.
And now we're going to switch over to the Asphalt Assault Series. He's going to be starting row number 9, He's going to be starting row number 5. He's going to be in the number 9th position. That's Dwayne Vincent. To his outside, CJ Levere in the Full Throttle Cup Series.
Rolling off row number 10, starting 11th, the number 5 of Bobby Terrell, and right beside him, the number 32 of Rod Flack.
Rolling off row number 7 is going to be Andrew Berger in the Super Speedway Cup Series car, and in the 14th position is Joshua Harbison in another ETV Live Team Series car.
Starting off 15th, in the number 29 is Brandon Schuberko, and right beside him in the number 31, rolling off 16th, is Glenn Hedrick.
Rolling off in row number 9 is going to be Doug Roth in the 17th position. 18th is going to be Mark Bratcher, who I got word from Jerry Wolf is running for his own team, so no doing there.
And right behind them, starting off 20th in the number 21 is Jose Gonzalez, and right beside him rather, in starting off 21st in the number 7 is Guy Snyder, the 4th.
Well, with my unfortunate stupid move that I actually joined the server, John's going to probably yell at me for that later. Guy Snyder, the 4th, will move from 21st up to 19th position. So with that being said, we're going to have 20 cars that are going to make their way around this 2.66 mile super speedway, so it's going to be definitely interesting here. Dakota Ehrman will lead the field down to the green, and other than that, I know with these caution laps, these guys don't want to see that because it's just an absolute brutally long caution flag when you get it here at Talladega.
Yeah, but also what they're going to be looking for are those wide open green flag runs. Once these guys get cooking and they start running their 2-car tandems, they will start pulling away in a much better pack. Whereas at the beginning, usually on the restarts, or at the beginning of the race, you have the pack all bunched up together, which obviously causes cautions. Another thing is cautions breed cautions, Kyle, and so that's one thing to keep in mind while we race here.
Yes, for sure. With the cautions breed cautions, you got to be careful. These guys, when the pack starts out, they'll be kind of searching around, moving around, trying to look for their teammates, help their teammates get up. These are, besides Daytona and here, these are the actually. Daytona and here are the biggest things that you'll see where teams will work with themselves and try to get their teams up into like the top 3 positions to get maximum points. We saw Asphalt Assault Series almost get max points last week with them coming home 1-2, but we're going to see what's going to happen here as the pace car lights are out on top of the pace car. As they're going to work their way onto the front stretch, that pace car is going to make the left-hand turn down onto pit road. And like I said before, the start-finish line is not in the middle of the tri-oval, so they're going to have to wait a little bit longer before they go green flag, as the pace car is going to peel off right about now, as Jeff Woodine is being lazy. There he goes. As the field's going to work its way through the middle of the tri-oval, as they're looking for the green flag here, you can already see that most of these guys are already on the back bumpers looking to push. As now as the green flag is going to go up in the air, Dakota Ehrman and Larry Mulliken are going to lead the way.
Right off the bat, the number 2 of Tony Bowling is pushing hard the number 13 of Dakota Ehrman, who jumps out and gets an early lead. But those cars are right behind them. Looking at the number 16 of Michael Keaton, he's all over the back bumper of the number 1, Larry Mulliken, who started off second as they push onto the backstretch.
As they're 2x2x2, it's almost like a fast pace lap here as the outside line's starting to get rolling together. Now Tony Bowling and Michael Keaton on the outside behind them. That is Steve Rosner and Billy Weeks in the number 3 machine for the Halls on Post guys. These guys are looking to make a big run on the outside here with the 2-car tandems.
Yeah, and those two-car tandems, like I said, are a huge factor here at Talladega Superspeedway. Once you link up, you start going. One problem with these two-car tandems, though, is you'll run hot. As you see, the number 16 jumps up high, leaving the number 1, who jumps down below to his teammate, Larry Mulligan, jumping to his teammate in the number 2, Tony Bowling. But now it's 3 wide going down the backstretch as Dakota Ehrman is stuck up high.
Yeah, Dakota Ehrman was saying before the start of this race that his connection was going screwy, so he's going backwards in a hurry. He's going to go from the pole position all the way to the back of the pack as the number 7 machine of Guy Shot of the 4th also jumps out. He's having a little bit of problems. And as now Dakota Ehrman gets passed by his teammate Joshua Harbison, he goes all the way back to the pack. Up front, it's Paul's on post 1 and 2. It's got Larry Mulligan getting pushed by the number 2 machine, the other way around. Tony Bowling is leading and is getting pushed by Larry Mulligan as they come into the tri-oval.
All of a sudden, at the very beginning, we see these very team-dominant cars pushing ahead as they have a absolutely huge lead on the cars behind them. As they push off into the first turn and going into the second turn. Looking back, the number 25 is Sean W. Brown. Right behind him, and the number 27 is Steve Rosner, and number 16 of Michael Keaton. That's a 3-car tandem. Michael Keaton being able to hold on. Michael Keaton, of course, belonging to the ETV Live team, and he is holding on to that 3-car tandem as they push up. Right there, you see those 2 cars splitting. Oh, wow, the number 27 getting loose, and it looks like he's spinning.
He's up in the wall, and he's going to come back down, and nobody's going to get collected here as he's going to spin it down on the tri-oval. No caution right now. Tough break for Steve Rosner as they're wrecking up in front a little bit further up. Andrew Berger gets sideways. No harm, no foul there. We stay green. These guys are now going to get split up. And I was about to say, there's 2 different strategies here. There's guys that want to just ride around, and there's guys that want to get to the front to stay out of this mess, and that's usually when the accidents happen. And unfortunately, Michael Keaton got into the left the right quarter panel of Sean Brown and sent him for a ride.
Yeah, what that little mishap ended up doing was the number 2 of Tony Bowling, who is sitting right behind the number 25 of Sean W. Brown. It split him up from his teammate, Larry Mulligan, who sits in 3rd place with Michael Keaton, number 16, pushing him. What I was saying before they got a little screwy going into turn 4 is that when you saw the number 2 of Tony Bowling jumping up high and allowing the number 1 to slip underneath, what they were doing is when you run these 2-car tandems, a lot of air gets constricted from going into your car, which ends up overheating your engine. So what that car will have to do, what the 2 cars will have to do, is jump out and switch positions, so the car now that was behind is now in front and getting air into their vehicle so the engine gets cooled off and they don't overheat and their engine doesn't explode. But looking at the number 1, Larry Mulligan, being pushed by Michael Keaton, a huge run on the leaders.
As now they're going to have a huge run as they split up to Tony Bowling and Sean W. Brown went for the swap there. As now Larry Mulligan getting pushed by Michael Keaton. They're going to take over the top spot, but they've got to switch now as Michael Keaton actually ducked his nose out, so he's probably running extremely hot. Look for them to switch as they go off into 1 and 2 here, which that will just mean that Tony Bowling and Sean W. Brown will close up on the back bumper. But also a little bit further back in that 3rd tandem, here they're coming. It's Dwayne Vincent and his teammate Bobby Terrell for the Asphalt Assault Series, who have been absolutely on fire for the last couple weeks as they took over the top spot in the point standing.
And they are probably one of the favorites to win tonight for the guys back home watching, as they're making a good run on these packed cars. But these 3 cars, or these 3 packs, are moving up, as you see Larry Mulligan in the number 1 moving up high to try to get behind the number 16. But what happened there is they got hooked up, and now the number 1 of Larry Mulligan is falling back, and he's going to have to duck behind the number 25 of Sean W. Brown. And just like that, from going from 1st place, now sitting in 4th place, all because he had to get a little bit of air into his partner's car.
As they come past the start-finish line now, new leader, the number 16 machine of the ETV Live Team Series, that's Michael Batman Keaton. He's always been able to put on a show for the fans, even if he's wrecking or leading the race, he's always managing to do something with that car. A little bit further back now, Bobby Terrell is starting to lose the draft from his teammate Dwayne Vincent, as Dwayne Vincent is now hooked up with the number 1 machine of Larry Mulligan when he got punted. So look for Dwayne to basically back off Larry Mulligan, pick up his teammate again, and go back up and try to get back up to the front. A little bit further back, we kind of got that second pack of cars that's going on. You got Rod Flagg pushed by Doug Roth, and you got Mark Bratcher, only one for the Hollywood Motorsports guys out there. And that's the only one that will be running for Hollywood Motorsports for the rest of the season.
Aha, but looking a little bit back from CJ Levere, the number 11, up high in the number 13 is your pole sitter, Dakota Ehrman, being pushed by his teammate from ETV Live, Joshua Harbison. I think that was the plan all along. That was a drastic fallback that Dakota Ehrman took, but he dropped back, linked up with his teammate, and now they're pushing hard and strong down the backstretch towards the front, Kyle.
Yeah, they're rolling. They're in the 11th and 12th right now, and they're rolling. They're faster than the leaders. If they're going to do a switch now, as Joshua Harbison's going to go underneath the 13 machine of Dakota Ehrman, as that's going to make that swap done. Harbison's going to just kind of let off a little bit, let his teammate get back up towards him. And behind them in the 13th position, here comes Steve Spies and Billy Weeks closing in on those two.
Yeah, these two cars tandems before they have to split up are really making huge runs. But once those cars get hooked up once again going into the turn, they pick speed right back up and they start pushing to the front. You have to, it's almost like you almost have to get it down to a science when they switch off. And if you don't do that, you can lose a lot of time. And when you're in the back, like in the number 9th position, you got Joshua Harbison right behind him, his teammate Dakota Ehrman in the 10th position. What happens is when you lose all of that time, I mean, you really can't afford it when you're back in those positions. And so when you have guys like them moving it, it has to really be all down to a science and be absolutely perfect if they want to gain any ground.
Oh, without a doubt, it's definitely a science when it comes down to it. Is now Michael Keaton's going to fall back and try to get to his teammates. But now up front, Dwayne Vincent looking to make a move around the number 2 machine of Tony Bowling as he's going to do that. So, Dwayne Vincent trying to bring his teammate Bobby Terrell. And a little bit further back, we got Rod Flagg and Doug Roth closing in on this lead draft here. As they're going to go around the outside of Michael Keaton. That is for the 6th position right now.
Yeah, they got a hell of a run up there moving, as now they're going to try to knock off the number 1 machine of Larry Mulligan, who sits in 4th place. But right behind them is Joshua Harbison and Dakota Ehrman. They're pushing strong as they all jump and try to get behind one another. That was a little bit of a sketchy move as everybody tries to get back together. The 6 jumps behind the 5. So a lot of car movements up at the front as they are 3 wide down the front stretch.
As they're coming down into turn 1 right now, is all of a sudden they're starting to line up. We're going to see if they're going to make a run at Sean W. Brown and Tony Bowling as they pulled out to a little bit bigger lead. As now Bobby Terrell is in front of Dwayne Vincent. Look for a big push there as Michael Key is going to jump out to the outside of Rod Flagg as he tries to make his way inside the top 5. As he's going to do that for a little bit, Michael Keaton, strong car all by himself. He's pulled up to the door. Dwayne Vincent trying to get that side draft. See if he can make some more momentum up as they come down the front straight away.
Yeah, Michael Keaton in that number 16 car, who currently is being registered as in the 7th position, got a huge run along the side of Bobby Terrell and Dwayne Vincent. Right behind him in the number 14 of Joshua Harbison. That whole entire top line moving up there is being pushed hard as Harbison gives Michael Keaton a little push there. Now they're moving up and they will challenge the number 2 of Tony Bowling and the number 25 of Sean W. Brown for 1st place.
Wow, Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton, obviously the ETV Live Team Series figured out something as now the whole pack is together. About the top 15 cars are all within about a half a second of each other. As Michael Keaton's going to see if he can get a run down the front straightaway, see if he can pull his number 16 ETV Live Team Chevy back up to the front of the field. As he doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it, as he's going to pull up alongside the door of Sean W. Brown. Going to try to get that side draft, but nothing doing now. So as the 4 cars kind of break away from the main pack.
Yeah, those 4 cars very much just pulled away from that pack back there. And there you have the number 2 of Tony Bowling being pushed by the number 25 of Sean W. Brown. And then Michael Keaton up on the high side being pushed by the number 14 of Joshua Harbison. So you have, it looks like 3 different teams there present up in the front of the pack as they move down the back stretch. Michael Keaton really wants to lead this race, and he is not giving up without a fight, but Tony Bowling he just seems like he has the fast car using that inside line.
Yeah, but Michael Keaton's also got to be careful that he listens to his teammate Joshua Harbison and doesn't allow him to blow up. As now Joshua Harbison is going to disconnect from Michael Keaton, so obviously he's getting very hot. His contact for the front position, I'm not sure who led that lap. I'm pretty sure that was Michael Keaton who got that lap. And yes, that's in fact it was. And hopefully that's what it will look like at the end of the race. 1/1000th of a second, Michael Keaton led that lap over Tony Bowling, so very close. As now here comes Rod Flagg and Dakota Ehrman like a rocket ship coming out of nowhere.
Coming out of nowhere is right as they come up right behind Michael Keaton and Joshua Harbison on that high side. The high side is prevailing right now as well. The number 25 is Sean W. Brown, almost got up into the 14 there. These guys are shaking everywhere. They're pushing very hard down these backstretch into the turns and everything. These guys are very passionate about winning, and it looks like they'll do almost anything to get there as they're shaky all over the place. Michael Keaton, though, now getting a very good push out front, as he no doubt will take that first place position, as that upper line has the line so far. They're pushing hard.
As now Joshua Harbison's going to go underneath the 16 machine. He obviously needed air to that front of the car. As now Rod Flagg's going to hook up with Michael Keaton. That's going to kind of hang out Dakota Ehrman as he's going to try to look for another partner. It most likely will be the number 25 machine of Sean W. Brown. As now Tony Bowling's on the back bumper of Joshua Harbison. As Rod Flagg gets a little bit squirrely off the back bumper of Michael Keaton, and also Tony Bowling almost got taken out by Joshua Harbison, and this is going to allow the pack to close back up on these guys. As now Joshua Harbison's going to go to the outside here and just drag his teammate Dakota Ehrman up. So right now the ETV Live team, guys, unfortunately with them only having 3 cars, it's kind of key that you want that 4th car, even though he doesn't score any points for you, but he could really help you. As now Michael Keaton and Rod Flagg have absolutely checked out.
Yeah, they have gotten an absolutely huge lead up front. Looking back, it looks like the 4th and 5th position, you have Joshua Harbison and his teammate Dakota Ehrman pushing very hard together. He dropped back on him, but now looking up at the front, they had to disconnect. Looking in the first place, Michael Keaton had to jump up high and disconnect to get some air into his tire as the duo, the teammates, Dakota Ehrman 3 wide, going down, now 4 wide. Dakota Ehrman and his teammate are just making a huge move. Joshua Harbison up that high side, they will take the lead.
That was an absolute power move by Dakota Ehrman and Joshua Harbison when they saw that the number 2 machine of Tony Bowling checked up for the disconnection of Michael Keaton and Rod Flagg. They said, screw this, we're going to go around the outside, move the number 14 and the 13 machine up to the 1st and 2nd spot. So huge move by them. A little bit further off back in the pack around the number 13th, 14th position. Nothing's really happening here as Doug Roth is going to go a little bit further back to pick up his teammate CJ Levere for the Full Throttle Cup Series. As we're now focusing on Steve Rosner, he's getting a push by Mark Bratcher. In front of him, 2 Hollywood Motorsports cars. That's number 3 of Billy Weeks and the number 1 of Larry Mulkin. So out front, we're going to have a new leader again. Rod Flagg is going to go to the top of the board.
Yeah, Rod Flagg being pushed by Michael Keaton, that number 16 made another power move as Dakota Ehrman and Joshua Harbison disconnected to switch spaces. As you see, the number 2 of Tony Bowling in the 5th position, dropping behind, trying to catch the draft and catch back up. You really lose a lot of grounds. One thing that we saw on both of those last laps that just happened is that in less than a lap, you had guys that were in 4th and 5th position screaming to the front and getting the lead before that lap was even completed. So it all comes back to what we said at the beginning. The one leading the final lap may not be the one leading when they come to the checkered flag. And that was forever prevalent right there when they just screamed up to the front, as once again Dakota Ehrman and his teammate Joshua Harbison in 3rd and 4th will push to the front and make a run for the lead, which it looks like they might get, Kyle.
As they're going to have the run on the outside, Dakota Ehrman getting absolutely pushed around by Joshua Harbison on the inside line. Michael Keaton connected up with Rod Flagg, but they're going to have a little bit of a momentum as they're going to stall out just on the door of Rod Flagg as they're going to drag Grace down the back straightaway off into 3 and 4 right now. Michael Keaton is going to come on last from Rod Flagg. This should give the advantage to Joshua Harbison and Dakota Ehrman as they come down onto the front straightaway here out of 4. I guarantee you Dakota Ehrman and Joshua Harbison are going to have the run as they come down to the tri-oval. Actually, Michael Keaton and Rod Flagg, they kind of just all stalled out. They kind of all split up, broke up, as now Rod Flagg is going to make a swap with Michael Keaton.
And see, he would try to make a swap for Michael Keaton, but what that does is the number 14 of Joshua Harbison had to jump down low and pick up the 16. They are getting very hot. Their cars are getting very hot. And they now are just jumping behind anybody trying to get around. They don't want to blow up their car. This earlier on in the race, we're on lap 20 of 75. As you see Joshua Harbison and his teammate Dakota Ehrman giving a huge push to their other teammate Michael Keaton as they're making a run to the top. ETV Live, the team ETV Live, currently is leading this race.
Yes, and right now, if the race were to finish on this lap, they would have max points. They'd finish first, second, and third. But a little bit further back, I just saw a glimpse of the number 6 machine of Dwayne Vincent in the 6th position, and the number 5 machine of Bobby Terrell all of a sudden starting to make their way up to the pack. And now Bob and Doug Ross and C.J. LeBaire have joined the dance. And they almost collected Tony Bowling and Sean W. Brown. C.J. LeBaire pushed up a little bit, getting into the corner, and almost took out Tony Bowling. So now these guys are starting to line up, but now Michael Keaton and Joshua Harbison are absolutely just checking out on the field. But like we said, wait for them to switch, as they're going to switch now. Watch for Rod Flagg and all of them to come out of nowhere and go flying by them. I guarantee you they're not leading this lap.
No, sir. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but you see the number 14 is still holding on to, but there they are, the number 13 of Dakota Ehrman and the number 32 of Rod Flagg coming up high on the side. Let's see who's going to lead the lap, and it will be Joshua Harbison. So still reading Joshua Harbison, Dakota Ehrman, Michael Keaton, Rod Flagg, and Tony Bowling as your top 5, with Dakota Ehrman now looking at the number 1 position up high, being pushed by the number 32 of Rod Flagg. That's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position we're watching right now up at the front. Great lead changes, great battles, and we're not even close to being done, Kyle.
This is what I love, and I guess I should not have betted that one on Vegas, so good thing for that. We're now going to take our first ETV Live Team Series commercial. Don't go away. Still more great action to come here at Talladega.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products, reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com, and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Welcome back here at Talladega Super Speedway for the ETV Live Team Series presented by the HD Radio Network, the leader in sim broadcasting. The new leader on the top of the board right now, Sean W. Brown, followed by Tony Bowling, as now Michael Keaton is going to move to the back bumper of the 2 machine of Tony Bowling. We've gotten word from a lot of these crew chiefs that these guys are overheating and they're just looking for any means of air right now, so definitely interesting to see how that goes on. They should be pitting here in the next, I would say, probably 15, 20 laps.
And the thing here, Kyle, is that when it gets down to 5 laps to go, 3 laps to go, it's going to turn into desperation mode. They're going to think to themselves, do I want to keep on holding on and pushing this guy, and risk blowing my engine up right before I get to that line? Or do I want to jump out, get some air, and jump back in? But that is indeed risking my position to win the race. So those are some questions that they're going to have to ask themselves as time dwindles down. Maybe on these pit stops when they sit back, let their crew do the work, they can ask themselves that question. But Sean W. Brown and Tony Bowling looking at the front, 1 and 2. Then you got Michael Keaton, who is running by himself. He has a very strong car. He's been by himself a couple of times this race, and he's just made it work. He's just been able to push it up there. So it's very nice to see that up there at the front here at Talladega.
As now we got the one machine of Larry Mulligan getting pushed by the 00 of Mark Bratcher. That's a new face we haven't seen up at the front of the pack here as they're coming on the outside as Mark Bratcher's going to try to clear the strong 16 car of Michael Keaton. And you reiterate that back when it's like, say, 3 to go, if you got to push this guy, unfortunately, I have a rule, 2 to go. If I'm the pusher, I push it till it blows up. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. But if you can get it to work on that 10th time, as they're going to go 3 wide, as Michael Keaton and now Dakota Ehrman are going to go, or actually, sorry, that's Joshua Harbison are going to go up the middle, and now Michael Keaton is going to take over the top spot and now move Joshua Harbison up to the 2nd spot as he's going to give Michael Keaton a huge shot as now they're wrecking. As how did they not wreck as Sean Brown's going to get loose, everybody's going to save it. Wow, that was big.
He held on to that. That was absolutely amazing driving. Any minute he could have hit that apron and just spun out. I knew it. I saw them going 3 wide down there, and I saw Michael Keaton giving Joshua Harbison up there at the front that huge little push. I was like, oh man, something bad is bound to happen. But like I said at the very beginning, these are great drivers, skilled drivers, and so that was very good to see that he was able to hold on to that. And even though he falls back to the back, we still got a lot of racing to go, Kyle.
Kind of reminds me of Kyle Busch in the Sprint Unlimited race when he basically saved a car that should have been absolutely around into the wall not once but twice.
Yes, only almost reminiscent of that. And so, but that's got to make him feel good if he watches the replay of this to be labeled next to one of the great drivers of the Sprint Cup Series. So it was a nice little gesture right there. Yeah,
it was a crazy save, but. And now Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton absolutely love that. They're going to check out a buttload over at the number 00 of Mark Bratcher and Larry Mulligan. They've almost got a full second lead. They've got at least a half a second lead on Mark Bratcher as they're going to come across the stripe line. We're getting a more accurate reading of what's going on as they almost got actually a full second lead on Mark Bratcher and Larry Mulligan. So definitely with that almost wreck happening, a lot of stuff has gotten split up here as they're going to try to make their way back and make another big pack again. Looking back to the 00 of Mark Bratcher sitting in 3rd place, being pushed by the number 1 of Larry Mulligan down the backstretch. They are gaining ground on their leaders, and any minute now I'm thinking Joshua Harbison is going to have to jump up high and switch with Michael Keaton because of the air not being able to go into Michael Keaton's car and heating up that engine, and that's going to allow them to go and get the lead. As you just saw the number 1 of Larry Mulligan jump out real quick, get some air into his grill so he can push the 00 of Mark Bratcher up there to the front. As the number 1 jumps low, 00 jumping high, they're kind of all over the place. As now you see Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton switching up positions. It's just it's like a double duo there as they just switch up, and it's almost seamless as they jump back into line, and the number 1 is now making a move for the lead down the backstretch. Actually, when the number 1 went to the inside there, he definitely had to switch. He was probably having double flashing lights going into that race, in that cockpit of the race car. What I mean by double flashing lights is also you'll get a water temperature and an oil temperature. When the water temperature starts blinking, it's not the end of the world. But when you see that oil temperature start blinking, oh, you better start pulling out of the line because that motor's about ready to grenade itself in about probably 5 seconds. So definitely, obviously something happened there that they had to switch probably about 50 feet before they needed to. So, well, obviously Larry Mulligan probably had double flashing lights inside that race car.
Yeah, and he did a good job of jumping out and getting some air into his car, but he just had to say to himself that it was not working, and he had to switch up, as now you see the number 16 of Michael Keaton switching up with Joshua Harbison. But now Joshua Harbison jumps back in the line, and that lets Larry Mulligan and the 00 of Mark Bratcher jump up to the number 1 spot.
So now Larry Mulligan and Mark Bratcher are going to go to the point here. I just want to also reiterate once again to the race fans out there that are watching this stream or maybe possibly even listening it to radio. I'm not sure if we have it on radio. Going to have to ask John about that later. But to the guys that are watching it on the racecast, I just want to reiterate that if you see blank cars and you're looking for your favorite driver, with iRacing's new update today, we unfortunately didn't get enough time to upload the paints, so bear with us. We will definitely have the paints for next weekend when we go to the racetrack. So right now, if you see your favorite driver, keep cheering him on. If you see your favorite driver and he doesn't have the same paint scheme that he normally runs, still cheer him on.
Yeah, it's a little hiccup that we had because of that update that we had earlier today, but I mean, it doesn't really hinder the watching experience. It's still very exciting racing, regardless of what that update did with the paint schemes, but it's always good to let our viewers at home know that that is what is happening, and that's why they're not seeing the normal paint schemes that they usually do for this series. Looking back up at the top, you have the 00 of Mark Bratcher leading it to the line, but right behind them, moving up, is Michael Keaton and Joshua Harbison moving hard. You now have 2-car tandem, 1, 2, and 3 different packs of 2-car tandems moving up there, but it's Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton moving up, trying to get that first place position away from Mark Bratcher and Larry Mulligan down the backstretch heading into 3.
Well, Dwayne Vincent and also Tony Bowling had probably about a 1.5 gap on these guys. They were that far behind. They pushed themselves up to this lead draft, as now we're watching a little bit further back. That's in the 7th and 8th position. That's Bobby Terrell, and I'm pretty sure the number 3 machine of Billy Weeks. They're trying to make a run to try to get up to these guys right now, as Joshua Harbison is going to lead that lap by, wow, 14/100ths of a second. So these guys are just absolutely trading for the lead. So that's what makes Talladega so great, and same with Daytona, is you got a lot of lead changes, so there's always action going on for the top spot.
Yeah, we're on lap 34 of 75 laps, and one thing I've noticed is that with almost every single lap that has passed by, we have seen a very close 1/100ths of seconds between the leader and the second place car with these 2-car tandems, and so that's always pretty nice to see, and I think that helps the viewers at home know that when it comes down to it and they're coming to that checkered flag tonight, that's probably the kind of finish that we're going to have. So I've got my hopes up that we're going to have an absolutely fantastic finish as Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton stand strong in that lead. But looking back, the number 00 of Mark Bratcher in the 3rd place position right now, being passed up high by the number 2 of Tony Bowling and the number 6 of Dwayne Vincent. He is all alone, Kyle.
Yeah, Mark Bratcher kind of got hung out to dry there by Tony Bowling. Tony Bowling decided to go with Dwayne Vincent. Dwayne Vincent's had a strong car as they're making their run to the front of the pack right now. So Mark Bratcher's going to go and search for another teammate, as the whole pack is now starting to close back in on these guys here. And leading the pack charge back in the number, I would say, about 8th position. He's going to go 3 wide with Doug Roth and Dakota Ehrman and Larry Mulligan. And actually now Larry Mulligan is going to lead the charge up to this lead draft here.
Yeah, Doug Roth got a huge run with C.J. LeVere pushing him right behind, and Dakota Ehrman just got stuck in the middle there as Dwayne Vincent and Tony Bowling and all of them just pushed underneath. They now have a huge run on the leader, Joshua Harbison and Michael Keaton. As we look up front, and Joshua Harbison, Michael Keaton up top with Tony Bowling and Dwayne Vincent underneath them, and they will pass with ease underneath the 2 teammates from ETV Live.
Yeah, but don't look now back in that 4th and or the 5th and 6th position. You got Larry Mulligan and Rod Flake trying to make a run on these guys, and behind them you got C.J. LeVere and Doug Roth, who's got a massive run on Rod Flake. look for him to possibly pull out and pass. Nothing doing there. They're going to get all split up, and that's just going to allow Dwayne Vincent, Tony Bowling, and Michael Keaton and Joshua Harbinson to pull away for a little bit until they have to switch.
Yeah, and that switch is the killer for a lot of these drivers. When they jump out and lose that draft of one another for those split seconds, that causes the cars back in the pack to just catch up strong. As you see, the number 1 in 5th place, Larry Mulligan, being pushed by Rod Flagg, and that number 32 just absolutely gaining on that front pack. And behind them, Doug Roth being pushed by the number 11 of CJ Levere up to the front. So we have... Go ahead, Kyle.
These guys are all now back together. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Ted, but so much great action going on the track that I can't control myself right now. And I was looking a little bit further back in the number probably 11th to 12th position, even though they just got split up. But Sean W. Brown, remember him, had that crazy save. He's almost back up in this lead draft also. And now that the field's all back together here, Mark Bratcher and Dakota Ehrman, that was in the 10th position when they started this run, is now all the way up to the 4th and 5th position. So they're seeing if they can make a run on Michael Keaton, as they got a huge run. As they're going to try to see, maybe, do you think they're going to split the middle here? As they're going to pull up on the back bumper. No doing here. Mark Bratcher's just going to settle in behind Michael Keaton, and he's not going to make a 3 wide again.
Yeah, last time, I think it popped in the back of his mind that last time they went 3 wide, they almost wrecked the entire field. So Mark Bratcher said to himself, I'll stay down low and we'll take him on the next lap around, as they just complete another lap, now on lap 39. Tony Bowling in that number 2 car sits in 1st place, Michael Keaton pushing him right behind him, and Mark Bratcher in the 00 being pushed by Dakota Ehrman, who has seemed to maybe lose the draft, as the number 6 of Dwayne Vincent is getting a push by the number 14 of Joshua Harbinson going into 3.
Well, and a couple laps ago, we got the cross legs. We're halfway home. We haven't had a caution. We're going to step aside for a couple seconds. When we come back, hopefully green flag pit stops from here at ETV Live at Talladega. Don't go away.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50-caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products, reasonably priced, at DerekSpearDesigns.com, and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Welcome back here to Talladega Superspeedway, as green flag pit stops are now underway. The top 15 or top 10 cars just basically came in, pitting right there. They're all going to come out, as now the next group of cars should be coming in as Doug Roth and CJ Levere make their way onto pit road. They got to get themselves slowed down all the way down to 50 miles an hour, as CJ Levere actually got into the pit road a lot better than his teammate Doug Roth. So interesting there. Most of these guys are looking to get two right sides only, fill it up, or even no tires and fill it up. You can't take 4 tires here at Talladega. Well, you could, but you just absolutely get demolished here, as we're seeing more guys come in. That's the 30 of Andrew Berger, the 29 of Brandon Traburco, the 21 machine of Jose Gonzalez came in. So as these guys cycle around, our leader should be the number 1 machine, the number 6 machine of Dwayne Vincent, as they're going through their travel right now. Coming to the start-finish line onto his outside is Dakota Ehrman as they go by these cars.
Yeah, and once again, they're up to speed with their 2-car tandems and even 3-car tandems now, as They come around, turn onto the backstretch. Up top, Dakota Ehrman being pushed by the number 2 of Tony Bowling, but that bottom line has 3 cars pushing it, and that's the number 6 of Dwayne Vincent, 16 of Michael Keaton, and the 00 of Mark Bratcher. Up ahead in front of them, CJ LeVere in the number 11, and Doug Roth in the number 9, a little slower than these cars that just are pile driving down there, as we are 3 wide on the front stretch, Kyle.
As they're looking to try to maybe possible make it lead 4 wide with Michael Keaton. He thought better than that. CJ LeVere and Doug Roth got on an off-pit road really good, as they're going to go to the back of this pack here. So obviously these about 7 or 8 guys right here have been making some moves, as now Dwayne Vincent and Michael Keaton and Mark Bratcher are going to have a 3-car pull away from the top. Look for Tony Bowling and Dakota Ehrman and the number 2 and the number 13 machine to get hooked back up and to get back up to those guys.
Yeah, they're going to start making their push up to the front, but CJ LeVere and Doug Roth, who we saw get passed a little bit earlier, they're being shown currently right now in the 3rd position and in the 6th position respectively, but they're hooked up, they're moving to the front now, and they are moving pretty fast. As you look up top in the 5th position, Dakota Ehrman being pushed by Tony Bowling, and they are pushing towards Dwayne Vincent and Michael Keaton up in that number 1 and number 2 spot.
Well, you know, when Michael Keaton and Mark Bratcher make their swap, they're going to be in a lot of trouble here, as now Tony Bowling and Dakota Ehrman are trying to talk to each other, possibly planning when they're going to have to switch again. Once again, we're 44 laps in, coming around a complete lap 45 when they come to the stripe this time by. We have not seen a single caution flag here at Talladega Superspeedway. So definitely interesting to see that we're going green this far, this long, but who knows, maybe we can go green to the end, get an early night, get some high fives. I don't know. Maybe John will give us a reward for calling a caution-free race.
Oh, way to jinx us, Kyle. Jeez. You never say we're going to go caution-free before the race is over. Didn't DW teach you anything when he was up in the booth? I mean, it's Talladega, for crying out loud. I suspect that we will have at least 1 caution by the time this race is over. However, it does bring up a good point that the racing that we've seen so far here, with the amount of times a car has been hit and sent down onto the apron and has recovered it and not spun out, the level of skill that these race car drivers show is just absolutely spectacular, and it is really shown because we've had no cautions, especially at a track like Talladega. That's almost unheard of. But looking up at the front, once again you have Tony Bowling and Dakota being pushed by Dakota Ehrman, and when they come around to this line, they will be shown in 1st and 2nd, and that will make, now that we are on lap 46 of 75.
Oh, with 30 laps to go here, Tony Bowling leading the way, followed by Dakota Ehrman in 2nd position. 3rd is going to be Mark Bratcher. 4th, Michael Keaton. And as I list this off, this is all going to change anyway. And in 5th position is going to be CJ LeVere. 6th is Doug Roth. 7th, Dwayne Vincent. 8th is Sean W. Brown. 9th is Rod Flagg. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Billy Weeks. 11th is Larry Mulliken. Steve Spees is shown in the 12th position. 13th, Andrew Berger. 14th, Brendan Traberco. Joshua Harbison, 15th. Bobby Terrell, 16th. So those guys up at the front for most of the day are now 8 seconds behind, so they definitely had a tough pit stop. 17th, Scotty Schneider, the 4th. 18th, Jose Gonzalez. Glenn Hendrick, your first car 1 lap down. He's in 19th position and out, done for the race. Brought his car behind the wall, loaded it up on the hauler, got out of there. Steve Roser in the 20th position.
As they pull around turn 2 onto the backstretch, Dakota Ehrman got hung out to dry a little bit. His drafting buddy, I should say, Tony Bowling, now jumping out and falling back to him to start pushing. But when you look at these 1, 2, 3, and 4 place drivers of Tony Bowling, Dakota Ehrman, Mark Bratcher, and Michael Keaton, they have essentially ran away from this pack behind them, and it will take a little bit of time for them to catch up to them. But as these engines start heating up on these cars, and they have to pull out from one another and get air into their tire, or air into their engine rather, and when they lose the draft, these cars will catch right back up. And so this is setting up to be a immensely fun and interesting finish to this race today, Kyle.
Well, hopefully, but you said I jinxed it, so we might get a caution here soon. I don't know, random debris caution. Can we get that at iRacing? But anyway, still, it's been a lot of fun right now. Caution-free so far for the first 48 laps. Mark Bratcher leading Michael Keaton right now as Keaton's going to jump all the way to the outside, so obviously his engine is starting to overheat as Dakota Ehrman is going to jump up to behind Michael Keaton. That's going to leave Tony Bowling to jump to the back bumper of Mark Bratcher.
And there's the teammates of Dakota Ehrman and Michael Keaton getting hooked up and pushing once again with those 4 cars up front, pretty much dominating the pack as Dakota Ehrman is 0.215 behind the leader. And then after that, you got Rod Flag sitting in 5th place, being pushed by CJ LeVere, and they're sitting 2 seconds behind the leader. And so that just shows you the amount of space that these cars have gotten on one another after you step out of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th positions as they head off of the backstretch into turn 3 and 4.
Well, I'm further back in the pack around the 5th, 6th, and 7th position. You got the 31 machine of Glenn Hedrick for the Super Speedway Cup Series, helping his teammate Rod Flag in another Super Speedway Cup Series car. He is a lap down. He is in 19th position. He's kind of hoping for a caution right now, and so he can get his lap back, and these guys can get all tightened up for the last 25 laps here. As now we're going to step away for the final time. I know, folks, we've taken a couple commercials, quick commercials here, but when we come back, we're going to give you commercial free to the end of the race.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50-caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products, reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com, and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Welcome back here to Talladega Super Speedway for the ETV Live Team Series presented by the HD Radio Network, the leader in sim broadcasting. We're getting word from the NASCAR officials here that there possibly might be water bottles on the track, and we might need a caution here soon.
That's a good trick there, Kyle, but I don't think it's going to work. They don't really pay too much attention of us up here in the broadcast booth.
Got to give me props for at least trying. But anyway, as they come down the stripe this time by, Mark Bratcher is going to be leading the number 2 machine of Tony Bowling as they're hooked up. That's going to complete lap number 53. They're going to have 23 laps to go. As now Tony Bowling is going to pull underneath the number 00 of Mark Bratcher. That's going to allow Michael Keaton and Dakota Ehrman to absolutely rocket past them up into the top spot. But further back, we won't really focus on the battle for the lead right now. Is a little bit further back in the number 5th and 6th position, you got Steve Spees and Billy Weeks. And further behind him, they got Rod Flag, Glenn Hedrick, Doug Roth, and CJ LeVere. So they're looking to try to make their way up to the front before the end of this race.
Yeah, Billy Weeks isn't really a name that we've talked about too much today, but he jumped out right there to get to get out of the gas and jump behind his drafting partner there, and that really split up a couple cars there. They jumped out of the way real quick, and that could have been very messy, but I mean, everybody got through okay, and the number 32 of Rod Flag, who is currently sitting in 7th place, is now getting right back hooked up with his teammate there in the number 31 and which is Glenn Hedrick, who is, just a note for the people watching at home, is a lap down, but he is helping his teammate get up there. They need all the points they can get. Looking up, the number 26 sitting in 8th place, Steve Spiess, is being pushed by the number 3 of Billy Weeks, and they're making a hard charge run towards the front, and right in front of them is Doug Roth in the number 9 and CJ LeVere in the number 11.
Hey, quickly, as race fans, as you are watching this racing action from the ETV Live series, don't forget to check out the ETVLive.com, talk to John or even JD to schedule when you want your team or your league to be televised. Unfortunately, all slots are taken up for this season. Contact them about possibly having a broadcast next season. Remember, ETV Live is presented by the HD Radio Network, the leader in sim broadcasting. So far, nothing's changed up front right now. We still have Tony Bowling led by Mark Bratcher, Dakota Ehrman, and Michael Keaton, and Doug Roth rounding out your top 5. It's now CJ LeVere is actually going to go by Doug Roth for the 5th position, so move CJ LeVere up to the 5th position as that Tango is going to try to make its way up to the front of the pack. Highly doubt that that's going to happen because they're almost 3 seconds behind now.
Looking back in the 10th position is the number 30 of Andrew Berger, and he's being pushed by Brandon Chaburko as they are pushing very hard behind the number 32 and 31 cars, and now they'll jump out, get a little bit of air into their engine. Whoa, the number 30 had jumped up a little bit and almost pushed his teammate up into the wall. That could have been a little bit messy, but the 31, 32, 30, and 29 all look up 4 cars bouncing off one another. This is a pretty exciting draft group that we see back here on the backstretch, Kyle.
Oh, without a doubt, you can take a picture right now. That is the Super Speedway Cup Series in a nutshell right now. Brandon Chaburko, Andrew Berger, Rod Flake, and Hendrick, as they're going to go 3 wide up in front of them. They're going to have nowhere to go, as there's going to be a little bit of contact between Doug Roth and CJ LeVere there. No harm doing. Nobody's going to spin out, so we stay green right now.
We stay green, but I don't know for how long. That Super Speedway group right there is just absolutely hammering it past the number 9 of Doug Roth and the number 32 of Rod Flagg and CJ LeVere and the number 11. They just flew past them, and they're still gaining a heck of amount of ground and time as they push. So it makes you wonder if they've been sitting back this entire race hoping that a caution isn't coming out. And as we are on lap 57, so we're under 20 laps to go, you got to say to yourself, did they sit back and go, all right, it's time to go, it's time to jump up to the front? Because they are absolutely bulldozing their way to the front right now, Kyle.
Well, you say that, but do you think they've started the run a little bit too late with this green flag and how far out Dakota Ehrman and all of them got out to the front here? The only thing that they have going right now for them is that Glenn Hendrick is basically, as the cars heat up, they're going to peel off as Glenn Hendrick's going to go to the back of the pack here as he's going to fall in behind the number 29 machine of Brandon Chaburko. If he can't catch up with him, that's fine. Chaburko's going to back off and allow Hedrick to close up on him so they can close back up on those guys. So the 4 of them have got a pretty good, interesting team strategy going, seeing if they can knock off this almost 4-second lead now from Tony Bowling and all of them.
But as we said early, it is Talladega Super Speedway, and we did end up jinxing ourselves, so it's not too late to rule out a caution. And so they must be saying to themselves, hey, we stayed back long enough, let's jump up there. But they're probably hoping for a caution right now, Kyle.
Oh, they're just dying for a caution inside that car. And it's funny, there's 2 different mentalities going on right now. You got the super... As now we're going to have a caution on the speedway, so we have jinxed ourselves as we're looking for the caution right now. Not sure what happened, if a car was sent spinning or if there was actually debris on the track. As actually, no, we found Jose Gonzalez has got his car torn up, and same thing with the number 7 machine of Guy Schneider the 4th. So I think, Ted, you figured out the reason of what happened?
Yeah, as the number 7 of Guy Snyder the 4th and the number 21 of Jose Gonzalez come down into the tri-oval, Jose Gonzalez jumped down low, and it looked like the number 7 of Guy Snyder, the 4th, just kind of got too much air underneath him. He jumped up high, and then he just, I guess he overcorrected, came down and tapped the rear quarter panel of the number 21 Jose Gonzalez, which sent him up into the wall, jumped him up onto 2 wheels, and spun him out across the start-finish line. It was a very violent hit he took out there to the outside retaining wall, the safer barriers. And as I'm looking at it again, the 7 came down hard into the number 21 of Jose Gonzalez, spinning both those cars out across the start-finish line, Kyle.
Well, it's now going to shoot a setup for about a 15-lap shootout. This is going to be crazy. Look for another caution or another 2 or 3 cautions, and unfortunately this race now might actually under caution unless these guys can keep it clean from here to the end, which I don't think they're going to do. With this many laps to go, nobody's going to allow anybody to get away from each other. They're going to be pushing from the moment the pace car pulls in, and they're still under caution coming to the green flag.
Yeah, this totally changes the game as we see one car jumping down into the pit row, and try to look at that. I think that is Tony Bowling in the number 2. Also behind him is Brandon Chuberko, who is the number. I'm trying to look for his car number here. The number 29. So he will jump down also into the pit, along with a few other cars, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely interesting strategy for them. I know that they should be good to go on fuel, but obviously they want to get some right sides on this. So actually, they're going to get 4 tires on those machines, might as well. You got the time. Maybe 4 fresh tires might be what these guys need.
But this is interesting. Looking at your top 6 cars, you have Mark Bratcher in the 00, the 13 of Dakota Ehrman, and then you have some of the super speedway guys, Rod Flagg in the number 32, number 30 of Andrew Berger, and then you have Doug Roth in the 9th, and Joshua Harbison in the number 14. So you have cars up there who are teammates, and so this is going to open up a brand new strategy for these drivers as we go back to green flag racing. And so up front, right away, you look at Dakota Ehrman in the 13, the number 16 of Michael Keaton, and the number 14 of Joshua Harbison, all teammates for ETV Live. Then you look at the super speedway guys, Rod Flagg in the number 32, and Andrew Berger in the number 30. The thing with them is they lost one of their drafting partners, the 32 of Glenn Hedrick, who got the lucky dog and was waved around the pace car. So all these different things are ringing off in these people's heads as they try to figure out a strategy, I bet, coming down to this green flag, Kyle.
Well, my only strategy is stay out of the big junk, because you know what's coming now, because these guys are going to be stacked up on top of each other. They're going to be 2-car tangling. They're going to see a hole open up. It might shove you 3 wide. It might even shove you 4 wide. At this point, you just keep your foot in the throttle. You go for that hole. If it closes up while you're in the middle of that hole, oh well, huge junk is going to break out, and unfortunately, you just better hope that you can survive it and come out with a relatively clean car.
And see, Mark Bratcher is kind of a wild card up there sitting in first place because he's part of Hollywood Motorsports, who, as you know, is the only driver coming back from that group to race in the rest of the series. And so he's kind of a wild card out there with no real teammate to work with. So it's going to be interesting to see who he picks up and who gets left out to drive out there as we go back to green. Lights are still on the pace car, so that means we will go around another caution lap, Kyle. As
I think Mark Bratcher is now up in the booth, as we just want to quickly reiterate to the fans that CJ LeVere just fell through, so tough break for him. I don't think he's going to lose that much. Hopefully he can get back on the track and not lose a lap. We do got a long caution flag here at Talladega. But anyway, I think Mark Bratcher has got us. You got us, Mark Bratcher?
Yeah, I got you guys loud and clear.
Alright, so, well, you're the only one for your team, kind of the wild card right now. What are you feeling right now?
Well, I don't know if I'm in the right place to be right now. I think third place is going to be the place to be when we get down to the closing laps. But I'm working well with the ETV Live team, and everybody at ETV Live Studios put the setup under this car tonight, and I'm racing one of their cars. So I think we're going to work together here, and there's 3 of us, and see if we can't put our heads together and put ETV at the top of the board when the race is over.
With the rest of your team getting kind of removed from this series here, and you're being the only one allowed back here. It's kind of interesting seeing you work your way through the pack right now with people that are willing to work with you, and just I know it's interesting and it's kind of tough. Tell us about how the rest of your day's been going so far.
Well, at the start of the race, like I said, I didn't have anybody to work with, and there were a lot of bad feelings with my teammates. But I still back my teammates 100%, and I love them to death. But I definitely had to work my way to the front, and had to do it solo by myself. And I probably made a couple more guys upset tonight because I had to do some rooting out of the way and part some teammates out of the way so I could get to a car that I could push, and I had to force the issue to make them want to go to the front. And so I could get up with Dakota and Michael and all those guys of the ETV team because they were up front, and I done planned on working with them. So once I got up there, and it was just teamwork and radio communications with those guys, and I think we managed to pull around 3-second lead on the pack before this caution came out.
I know you got a lot of stickers on the side of that Hollywood Motorsports car. Tell us who makes it happen for you.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Hollywood Motorsports, Outlaw Motorsports, my former teammates Greg McKinney, Ryan Manning. Those guys are all sitting back watching me race and supporting me tonight. And then I want to thank Jerry Wolf for allowing me to come back and race in the series, and Michael Keaton, Dakota, and all those guys that came in here working well with me tonight. So just want to thank them, and HD Radio Network, and tune in for the Hammer, all new radio show we're going to be a part of tomorrow night at 9:30.
That's Mark Bratcher in the number 00 Hollywood Motorsports car. He's the kind of the wild card out in this race. He's going to lead the field back down to the green flag. You heard it from him. You don't want to be in first place coming down to the end of this race. You want to be either in second or third, so you can easily get that run from that second tango when you're in third position. And if you're in first position and you got a big enough lead, or in second position and you got a big enough lead, you can try to make a move right coming down to the end of the stripe and try to get that win. All really Mark Bratcher is doing right now is just going out there and trying to get some wins.
Yeah, but as you said, he's driving a ETV live car tonight, so you got to think to yourself that Dakota Ehrman and Michael Keaton or even Joshua Harbison will link up with him, and he'll help them race to the end. Lights are off on the pace car as they head off the backstretch into 3 and 4. So Kyle, I'm going to let you take them down to hopefully our last green flag run.
Well, as the pace car is going to make its way through turn 3 and 4 right now, like you said, lights are out on top of the pace car here. A little bit different with the pace car here. Kind of have to talk a little bit longer than I want to talk, but that's all right. Mark Bratcher is going to leave the field down on the green. Second place is going to be Dakota Ehrman, who's showing a strong car in that ETV Live Team Series car. To his inside is going to be Michael Keaton, another one, and behind him is going to be Andrew Berger in the 30th. To his outside is going to be Rod Flagg in the number 32 machine. Behind and on the inside there is going to be Joshua Harbison. To his outside, Doug Ross. As now the pace car is going to pull off onto pit road, as the field's going to be left in the hands of Mark Bratcher, as he's going to go green right away. As Michael Keaton's going to leave a little bit of a gap for Mark Bratcher, or for Dakota Ehrman, sorry. They're going to fall all into line here, so no harm, no foul done there. The top three are going to stay the same.
Yeah, top three do stay the same. Mark Bratcher, Dakota Ehrman, and Michael Keaton, 1, 2, and 3, rushing down through the second turn and onto the backstretch. Looking back in the 6th position, Doug Roth falling back, stuck on the high side, and no one jumping up to help him out. So it's safe to say that he's going to have to find a drafting partner to get back up there to the front. As now looking back, we have other cars moving up to try to battle Mark Bratcher and Dakota Ehrman. Looking back, it's the number 32. It's the Speedway Series guy, Rod Flagg and Andrew Berger, making their way, passing up Michael Keaton, who currently doesn't have a drafting partner, and they are going to definitely try to get that lead away from Mark Bratcher and Dakota Ehrman.
As also Larry Mulliken and Brandon Traberco in the number 1 and 29 machine are going to go around the outside of Michael Keaton. Now Michael Keaton is going to find his teammate Joshua Harbison as they're going to try to hook up. But Rod Flagg and Andrew Berger have got an absolute head of steam. They got about 2-3 miles an hour on the cars in front of them right now as they're rocketing down the back straightaway. They're going to try to basically even out here as they're going to try to pull into the draft of Dakota Ehrman and Mark Bratcher as they go off into 3 and 4.
Guys who have been silent almost all race long, the likes of Andrew Berger, and looking back in the 7th position, the number 29 of Brandon Chuberko, who is pushing the number 1 of Larry Mulligan. As they now have caught up to these lead pack cars, it's going to be 3 sets of duo car tandems racing for that top spot, as the number 00 of Mark Bratcher will disconnect with Dakota Ehrman, let him pass up so he can get some air underneath his car, but that's going to make it 3 wide in turn 2, going on to turn 1, as down below the number 1 of Larry Mulligan all by himself.
I know you're getting excited there, Ted, but that was going on to the... Holy crap, there goes Michael Keaton into the back bumper of Andrew Berger. He came out of nowhere. He just absolutely ran into the back of Andrew Berger, as Andrew Berger is going to go flipping all the way down through 3 and 4. Huge hit for Andrew Berger. We're definitely going to need an ambulance in the middle of 3 and 4 there. I don't know what Michael Keaton was thinking. I know what he was thinking. He saw a hole. He wanted to take it. He kept his foot in it and unfortunately closed up.
Yeah, it sure did. As we look at this caution here, Michael Keaton got a huge run with his teammate, the number 14 of Joshua Harbinson. He just got too hard of a run, though. He tried to split the number 30 and the number 29 of Andrew Berger and Brandon Chuberko, but it just did not work. He slammed into the left rear quarter panel of the number 30 of Berger, which sent him down. And they almost cleared it in a way, but the number 14 of which was Keaton's teammate Harbinson just got way too loose, slammed into Keaton, which sent him up into the 30. Number 14, he took a wild ride as he slammed into it, but the number 30, it came worse for him as he came down onto the apron. The number 6 of Dwayne Vincent slammed into him, and he just came flying up into the top fence and flipped down that corner, or that turn there, Kyle.
Yeah, as I'm watching Michael Keaton and Andrew Berger right now, Michael Keaton's obviously not happy with something Andrew Berger did. He's been running into the back bumper of Andrew Berger the whole back straightaway there. So Michael Keaton's got to be careful with what he does here, because he could easily sit out a race with Jerry Wolf and Dakota Ehrman both in this race and watching at the same time, even though Dakota Ehrman is running the race.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Michael Keaton will obviously jump down into the pit road. CJ LeVere being waved around the pace car as of right now. That was a absolutely destroying hit into that corner. All the paint rubbed off the top of the number 30 there, Berger. And so we are now back under caution here at Talladega Superspeedway. Lap 67 of 75.
Oh, I don't understand how Andrew Berger's car is still going. He probably flipped about 5, 6, 7 times. Definitely needed an ambulance. I guess we got the Dale Earnhardt thing going on when he flipped at Talladega. It was like, oh, car still drives. And drove it back to pit road and ended up racing and finishing the race with a car that rolled over.
Yeah, it's very weird how some of these cars work sometimes, and works in mysterious ways. Maybe it's that Indian burial ground voodoo magic you were talking about earlier before the race started. But Dakota Ehrman right now currently being shown the leader here at Talladega Superspeedway, with Mark Bratcher in second, Rod Flagg in third, Larry Mulligan in fourth, and Brandon Chuberko is looking in fifth place. Brandon Chuberko sitting in fifth place right now, rounding out your top five. He was almost collected in that wreck, and I think he got a little bit of damage to his car. So Kyle, could that affect him going down in these final laps here?
Well, if he does have damage, that will affect his aero. He'll basically want to be a pusher when it comes down to the end. He doesn't want to be the pushy, if you want to kind of go that way. Because if he's out in front, he might lose speed, determining on how bad the damage is, if he has damage at all. But I'm also looking a little bit further back here in the sixth position. We got Bobby Terrell. He kind of fell back and off the face of the earth here in this race, and now all of a sudden he's back up in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, he certainly is. And so now the whole entire game has changed here at Talladega Superspeedway, as a lot of the cars ended up that were very strong. Cars like Michael Keaton and Joshua Harbison and Andrew Berger all taken out, maybe even out of contention. That seems like the right way to go here. And so looking back at some of these other cars, some of these names that we've seen up at the front, the number 2 of Tony Bowling sitting in 8th place right now, he has a chance to jump up to the front. Doug Roth in the number 9. He has had a fast car all day when it comes to the push. He has seen himself up at the front. And then guys like Guy Snyder the 4th, who really haven't been shown up in the front too much. And so right now it literally can be anybody's race, Kyle. One note I would like to make, sitting in 10th place, rounding out your top 10, is Sean W. Brown, a person we saw save almost a for-sure wreck as his car slid down onto the apron, and now he sits in a perfectly viable spot to make it up there in first place as the laps wind down.
We're just going to see what his car can do, but the unfortunate thing is when we go green, we're going to have 5 laps to go, and unfortunately, with 5 laps to go, if you get a caution, that race is pretty much over. So these guys are hoping that they can at least make it around 4 more times, get the white flag, and after that, it's a no-holds-bar. You wreck it, oh well, no caution. You come to the checkered flag, you better hope you're in that first position.
Yeah, you certainly better hope that you're in that position, and a lot of these guys hope that they are in that position. But hey, it's yet to be seen. Lights are still up on the pace car, which means we will have at least 1 more lap around this 2.66 mile track, the largest track in the NASCAR arsenal. And so it ain't over till it's over, and it's definitely not over at the middle of that tri-oval, as we have at least 200 feet more of racetrack to go. And so it is literally anybody's race. We are about to complete lap 69 out of 75. 5 laps to go when this green flag drops. So it's getting down to crunch time, Kyle.
Oh, it is. These guys are going to have to pull those belts even tighter than they had at the beginning of this race. Going to make sure that steering wheel's still connected. You don't want that falling off the desk or falling out of the race car. Kind of need that to steer. But these guys, I don't know. I've been in this situation so many times where I've been the leader or whatever in these Super Speedway Series cars and also or Super Speedway tracks, and it comes down to the final 2-3 laps, and I'll screw it up somehow. I'll make a move that I shouldn't have made, or somebody will get underneath me when I should have blocked. I don't know how to win these races. I know it's all, I hate using this word luck, but sometimes when you come to a Super Speedway track like Daytona or even here at Talladega, it is about luck.
Yeah, sometimes when you come to Talladega, these plate tracks, luck is all you've got coming down to the final turns. We've seen so many races that have ended in disaster for some race car drivers when it looked like victory was well within their grasp. And by the end of tonight, we are going to have some very happy drivers, but we're going to have a lot more angry drivers.
I think I might have to bet more to the angry drivers here.
Definitely.
I don't know how you can be happy with walking away. I guess you can be happy if you walk away second. You just better hope that you weren't leading coming down to the final 200 feet.
Oh, definitely. I think right now that happy person might just be the one sitting in 3rd place, because those 1 and 2 guys could easily probably wreck themselves coming down to the line, and so that's a 100%. You can say that could happen, and so the happy guy by the end of this race might not be leading it. He might be sitting in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th position and might think that he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell to get up there to the front. But as we come down to this tri-oval and the pace car's about to dip down, it's gonna be a turkey shoot.
It's an interesting word. The boxing gloves are now on as Dakota Erman is going to lead them down here. Pace car is off as now Dakota Erman goes. Mark Bratcher timed the start perfectly. Mark Bratcher, as the caution is going to be thrown out, as obviously somebody saw something that they didn't like. I'm not sure if we're going to get a restart or what happened there.
I don't know either. Looking back at the number 14th position, Steve Spieth, he has a lot of smoke coming from the back of his car. So I don't know if something might have happened there on the restart. Oh, definitely there was. There was a caution that ended up happening on the racetrack, and I have found it. So let's see what happened. And it's Michael Keaton again. It looks like right off the start. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, right when the green flag has dropped. Immediately Michael Keaton just jumps and makes it 3 wide in between the 3 and 25. He tries to go and make it 3 wide once again, but the number 7 of Guy Snyder, the 4th, jumps up into Michael Keaton. They both hit the wall, spin down, and slam into the number 26, and immediately black smoke billows from the back of the number 26 Steve Spieth machine. So I don't know what's going on, Kyle.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at the pace car here. The lights are out on top of the pace car. We might get a delayed green, so nothing interesting happens. As now the field is basically stopping in 1 and 2. As now we are going to get another caution here as the field's going to try to roll. And I don't know where Steve Rosner is going. Or Steve Spieth is going. Definitely mass confusion going on here in the ETV Live Team Series. We're trying to get it straight away so we can at least give you an amazing finish here. As now the pace car lights are out, or lights are on top of the pace car. They're going to go around this time by. The lights will go out on top of the pace car. They will come back around and they will go green for the last 2 to 3 laps. So it will be an absolute shootout. Hopefully they can make it around without the NASCAR or the ETV Live Team Series officials seeing any problems and any more caution plates coming out.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a green-white checkered here at Talladega Superspeedway for this race as the number 26 of Steve Spieth dives down into his pit box. Black smoke just billowing above his car, so I think it's safe to say to count him out for the rest of this race. Tough break, so close to the end of this race. But looking back up to the front, the man, Dakota Ehrman, as they are back in 2 files. Lights are out on the pace car. We will go back to green. This flag, this time by, and we are just getting word. The officials have called it. Michael Keaton has been removed from the track. He is being black flagged and penalized and being told to get off the track and get behind the wall and go back to his trailer. The officials want to see him up in the officials booth, so we are just getting that wording, Kyle.
Yeah, so not a surprise there. You mess around with the officials, you do stuff you're not supposed to do, they'll hammer down on you, and Michael Keaton found that out firsthand as they were tired of this, and they, like he said, black flagged him, told him to bring it down pit road, get it off the track, and meet him in the trailer after the race. So now as the pace car is going to work its way into turn 4, hopefully we can get green flag from here to the end of the race. The lights are out on top of the pace car. When it pulls on, Dakota Ehrman will lead Mark Bratcher, Rod Flag, and Larry Moken to the green flag.
Yep, and we are very close to the end of this race. Looks like it will be a green-white checkered. We will hit lap 73 of 75, so maybe 3 laps shootout for the end of this race. It should be an exciting one. It should be a white-knuckled one, as Dakota Ehrman will take us around as the green flag drops, hopefully for the last time here at Talladega Superspeedway. Everybody's sitting back in their seats, strapping themselves in tight, and just hoping that everything is smooth sailing from here, but at Talladega Superspeedway, that's almost non-existent.
Oh, without a doubt, as now the pace car is going to pull onto pit road here. Basically, you push it till it blows up now as Dakota Ehrman's going to get a great start, almost too good of a start. He's hoping Mark Bratcher can pull in front of Rod Flag, as that's not going to do. They're going to make contact. Rod Flag is going to get back in line with his teammate there. So now Mark Bratcher is going to push Dakota Ehrman most likely to the finish line.
Yeah, Brandon Chiburko got a little contact with his teammate Rod Flag. Rod Flag jumped down onto the apron. He was able to jump right back up. And now they're making a huge run on the outside of Dakota Ehrman and Mark Bratcher. That's Rod Flag in the number 32 and his teammate Brandon Chiburko in the number 29, making a run for the lead going into 3.
as they drag race through 3 and 4 right now. Mark Bratcher all over the back bumper. Dakota Ehrman, same thing with Brandon Traburko. Traburko trying to see if him and his teammate Rod Flake can get a run down the back, down the front straightaway as they come into the travel. Remember, folks, the start-finish line is not here where they're going to go past the start-finish line where it would be at any other track, but it's going to be right here where Rod Flake is going to try to take over the top spot. No doing there. He's going to pull up alongside the door of Dakota Ehrman as they go off into 1 and 2.
That is, we are on lap 74 of 75. Next time by is the white flag. So they're telling themselves right now, are we going to push this all the way till we blow if that is an option? And I guarantee they're saying yes. But look behind them, the number 9 in 5th place of Doug Roth being pushed by the number 5 of Bobby Terrell as they're going to try to make a run and make this a 6-car run for the lead. As looking back up at the front, Rod Flag still on the high side trying to make something work coming out of 4.
As Doug Roth and now Bobby Terrell are there, and behind them they got Larry Mulliken and CJ Levere, who fell out of connection but got back and only lost a lap. As now Doug Roth is going to go be all over the back bumper of the 29 machine of Brandon Traburko as he's going to spin to the inside. Doesn't matter now. White flag is out. Rod Flag and Brandon Traburko on the outside looking to see if they could try to make it past the number 13 machine of Dakota Ehrman as they work their way through 2 onto the backstretch.
Bobby Terrell has no one to work with. His teammate gets spun as they cross the start-finish line. White flag out. Up top is number 32 of Rod Flag with being pushed by his teammate Brandon Traburko. They now get the lead from Dakota Ehrman and Mark Bratcher as they push. But now a new 2-car tandem is looking to take this away with Larry Mulliken and CJ Lefevre moving up top, making it 3 wide out of 4.
As they come down the front straightaway here, remember the start-finish line is not in the middle here. It is so far Dakota Ehrman as Rod Flag is going to have absolutely nothing to do with it. Larry Mulliken is going to come around the outside, see if he can make it to the start-finish line. They're going to go 3 wide. Dakota Ehrman is going to take the victory here at Talladega. Mark Bratcher is going to come home, I'm pretty sure, in the 2nd position, as yes it is. Rod Flag is going to come home 3rd, Larry Mulliken 4th, and Brandon Traburko 5th. So an absolute crazy finish here at Talladega. ETV Live will get their first ever win here on the ETV Live Team Series, and it'll be Dakota Ehrman, one of your NASCAR or ETV Live officials, will get the win tonight.
What an absolutely great finish to this race. 3 wide coming to the start-finish line to finish this off. Kyle, we did call it that it was going to be a great win, and it certainly did not disappoint the viewers back home. Another great win here at Talladega Superspeedway, a track that breeds great wins, and it certainly did not let us down tonight.
Oh, it definitely didn't. As we're going to step away, take a quick commercial, and when we come back, we'll have interviews with the top 3 finishers, and as fortunate enough as we are, 1, 2, 3 was the top finishers for each of their team.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travers, start your engine!
welcome back here to Talladega Super Speedway. Here I'm down on pit road with the third place finisher, Rod Flagg. Rod, it was an interesting day. You guys kind of stayed quiet for the beginning of the race, and then all of a sudden you made a late charge at the end of the race.
Yeah, we were pretty confident with the setup we had. It didn't qualify very well, but it definitely ran pretty well in traffic, especially hooked up in the tandem, which is pretty much how you have to be successful in with this car at this point. But definitely not a lack of effort. We definitely had the right cars there. A couple of my teammates got caught up in some bad luck there, unfortunately. But I think we had enough to win there. But just some unfortunate circumstances didn't allow us to get the momentum we thought we were going to have there, but we'll take it. Good run. I thank Brandon for the push there, and I wish I had a good push from Andrew as well before that last caution came out there, but we'll take it.
When you saw your teammate Andrew Berger kind of get punted a little bit there, what went through your head there?
I just felt bad for his run because he's I think he's more talented than I am. I think he probably could have had a better chance to win this race than I do. So I just felt bad for him, and I knew that there's some circumstances that were out of his control there that caused that accident. So just feel bad. Never want to see a teammate wreck.
Last lap down the back straightaway, you're drag racing with Dakota Ehrman and Mark Bratcher, and you're pulling ahead of them, but all of a sudden they start to get the steam on the bottom of the track. What's going through your head at that point right now? Are you just frustrated that you can't get it done, or?
I thought the car would actually have a little bit more momentum coming out of turn 4. To be honest with you, I don't know if it was the new build or what, but usually in those circumstances, the guy on the outside, if he's got the same room, has an opportunity to pass going into the tri-oval, and that just didn't happen for some reason. So kudos to Dakota and to Mark there for having a good push there. But we get our best shot, and hats tip to Dakota tonight.
And, you got a lot of stickers on the side of that Super Speedway Cup Series car. Tell us who makes it happen for you.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Super Speedway Cup drivers. They are, the best in the iRacing, and they make a lot of exciting action on Thursday and Friday nights there at ssseries.com, Super Speedway Truck, Super Speedway Cup Series. Also want to thank ETV Live, HD Radio Network. Thank you to Jerry for putting this on, and again, thanks to JD, John, everybody who does everything behind the scenes. It's always fun.
As now we're going to send it down to actually Jerry Wolf, because our friend Ted Manning is off to do PT training for the military. So just a quick shout out to all the men and women that are serving for even America and Canada. Thank you for all you do. As now Jerry Wolf has caught up with your second place finisher, Mark Bratcher.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, Kyle Peddle, thank you to all them military guys out there. They do a lot for us. But we're going to jump down here to Mark Bratcher. I tell you what, Mark, it's nice to see you in a race this week. It's nice to see you finish up there in the top 3. And it's nice to see you coming back next week, buddy. Tell me about your race.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. First I just want to go ahead. I want to thank Dakota, for what he done. Those guys seen me in the garage working by myself in a team series at a track that requires a teammate, to finish one of these things. So Dakota and all the ETV team worked really well with me tonight, and it took a lot of hard work to get up to those guys, but once I got to them, we all worked really well together. And when that last caution came out, I told Dakota that I was going to run it or blow up, but all the guys at Outlaw Motorsports put some great horsepower and great engine together, and that thing held together all the way to the end.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mark, it seems like maybe iRacing must have done a little bit to the draft this time. Kind of seems like a lot of cars were sticking together there. About the first 25, 30 laps of the race, up in the broadcast room up there, a comment was made about these guys out here running, and I pretty much flat out told him, you still got the top 14 running up front together within a second of each other, so I'd say the drafting played a good part tonight, and it looks like it might be a little bit better at this point, maybe?
Yeah, the drafting, they changed that draft model, and it was good. I think one of the things that I noticed tonight is that the cars were not pulling up, the closing speed had slowed down quite a bit, you know, so we didn't have quite as much downforce on the nose to pull them up. So you had to stay with them, you know, but you could back off the throttle a quarter of an inch and keep your engine cool. And I think that was the ticket, you know, was to run it smooth and keep the engine cool. But the draft model to me was really good. It was competitive, and there on the closing laps, you know, I have to hand it down to the two guys on the outside of me, because I did have to go up and rub doors to slow that momentum down on the high side, or they would have beat us. So I went in and, you know, just rubbed doors a little bit to slow their momentum down on the high side, and I jumped back down on Dakota, and, you know, it was off the victory lane from there.
I got to tell you, it was a great night watching you guys race tonight. Unfortunately for me, I was kind of rooting for somebody else there. I'm not going to mention Rod Flag's name, but it's good to see you and Dakota up front there, first and second. Got a lot of stickers on that car. Go on ahead and give some shout-outs there before we let you run off.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Hollywood Motorsports and Outlaw Motorsports. We work hand in hand, and I want to thank the guys with Team ETV for working well with me tonight. The HD Radio Network, ETV Live Studios, and tomorrow night at 9:30, Greg McKinney and myself will be kicking off our brand new show, The Hammer, talking about all the down low stuff that nobody wants to talk about. So if you want to hear about it, we're going to be talking about it, and you can call in and check us out.
All righty, buddy. Well, hey, we'll catch you next week, and have a great night. I'm going to throw her back on up to Kyle Peddle. Kyle Peddle, I believe you're standing by with one excited ETV live driver tonight?
Yeah, as I'm down here in Gatorade Victory Lane, I'm absolutely getting drenched by Gatorade as Dakota Ehrman is climbing out of that number 13 ETV Live Team Series Chevrolet. Dakota, you finally did it. You broke the jinx. You got ETV Live, their first team win, or the first win here.
Woo! That's really all you can say about that, man. That was not easy. That was a really, really long race. There was no point in that race where it was easy. It was so hard. The closing rate was so small. It was hard to work with other guys. I mean, you've got to use the brakes, and it was very interesting. It was really it kind of felt more like it was in the driver's hands. You had to have a partner, but it was so much fun, man. We had really good cars, really fast cars. It really helped to start out with the pole, and then win from the pole was, just another outstanding thing. And can't thank ETV Live enough for letting us be here and letting them and then being on our hood and on the car. It's just so awesome. And I really got to thank Mark Bratcher. I can't say it enough, man. Bratcher really helped. He went up there and he kind of slowed those guys down. There was a lot of aggressive driving, but I mean, without him, I would not be here. And that was just awesome.
The start of the race, we saw you qualify it on the pole, and also within the first half a lap, you all of a sudden you're starting to fall back to the back end of the pack. What was going on there?
Had electrical problems after qualifying. I mean, we had them through most of practice, and we were still trying to figure them out after qualifying into the race. And we got to the back, and we were thinking about riding in the back, and we lost the draft a little bit. Had to pick up Harbison when he came back to us. And by the time we got back up to the field, it felt like we were already up front, so we just kept going, and it just eventually disappeared. Like, I think we had it most of the race, but it wasn't noticeable. It wasn't nothing big, and it just, nothing that, could harm us. So we stayed up front that way, and it was interesting.
You get a caution with 15 laps to go and 5 laps to go. What is going through your head at that point in time?
Well, the caution I was really, really concerned about. I knew that we had control of the restart, and I knew we could go after the pace car was on pit road. I was kind of thinking we could get away there, but I had a feeling that we was going to have a lot of company. These guys, it's so easy when you get just a tandem hooked up. They can run down other tandems, especially in the larger the group. It seemed like the easier it was. I was surprised when we pulled out the first time. So I kind of felt like we would have a lot of company, but we were up front, and that's where we needed to be, and it would be hard to go from back of the field or even some of those cars that were coming to get around us, and then us not get back around them when they switched or something. So I had a feeling we'd be close to okay, or we might have had a shot, but things just worked out that we didn't have to worry about that. It seemed like.
Well, once again, finally broke that jinx for ETV Live. I know you got a lot of stickers on that car. I know you're super excited right now, but you gotta give some shout outs to your sponsors.
ETV, the HD Radio Network, all the guys at ETV, the Team Series, Tim Silliman, Joshua Harbison, Michael Keaton. You have Bratcher, Mark Bratcher. Got to really thank him for working with us. JD Webb, John Wessling for letting me come out here. Jerry for letting me step away from the admin duties to come drive the car. Everywhere else that I race, any place that helps me get experience. It's just got to thank everybody. I mean, that was just a big deal, I guess. And just thanks.
Well, that was Dakota Ehrman, your winner here at Talladega Super Speedway. Well, Jerry, I know as you being the leader of this group, what did you think of the racing today?
I'm going to tell you what, man, the MTCO.com 200 at Talladega couldn't have been better tonight. It was an exciting race all the way through. A couple cautions to get us out of here. I'm going to tell you what, man, I heard you guys there in the middle of the race begging for a caution, trying to get this group bunched back up. I think we're kind of trying to get things settled down here a little bit, get guys back in order, and hopefully we got a good thing going. And we have announced our next season. We are going to be going to Sunday nights with the trucks. I'm going to try to give those a little bit of a run. We got a schedule kind of worked up. We'll kind of release that here in the next few weeks. I can tell everybody, though, Kyle Peddle, we are going to put a road course in next season. So going to be some interesting racing there. As for tonight, I'm happy, man. I'm smiles from ear to ear at this point.
I can't wait to see that road course. But anyway, next week we're off to Texas. But with that being said, we had great racing here at Talladega. We had a crazy 3-wide finish between Dakota Ehrman, Rod Flagg, Mark Bratcher, and Brandon Traberko. But anyway, with that being said, with myself, Kyle Peddle, Ted Manning joining us in the booth, Jerry Wolf and Dakota Ehrman putting this on, John and JD pushing the buttons up in the broadcast booth. From all of us here at ETV Live, good night.